Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey there, everybody. This is Random Extra with Wellspring Immigration's 5 for 5. For today's topic, I'm going to walk around a typical Canadian neighborhood that is currently under construction that you could possibly come and live in if you purchased a house here when you move to Canada. Now, at Wellspring Immigration, we get a lot of questions from people all around the world, and by far the most asked question is, what is the fastest way to come to Canada? Now, people's reasons for wanting to come to Canada quickly are really varied, and it could be because they want to just see their family, or go to school, or go to work, or even just spend time in our multicultural cities, or breathtaking wilderness as a tourist. So, are there faster ways that you can come to Canada, either permanently or temporarily? Well, Ming Chi B of Wellspring Immigration has put together a list of 5 of the fastest ways to come to Canada. But before we begin, or before you begin picking which one do you want to come to, you should always take a look at the canada.gc.ca website to check those processing times. And the processing times for applications are updated regularly and may change depending on the demand. Also keep in mind your originating country may have a longer processing time than a different country elsewhere. There are a lot of factors that go into this. The application processing times by the government of Canada are completely outside the control of an immigration company's ability. So you really just have to have a lot of patience with this. So with that in mind, let's start that 5-minute timer as soon as I start on that number 1 fastest way to come to Canada, and we'll go for a walk around a neighborhood that maybe you want to join in. Number 1, the visitor visa. While the pandemic is still ongoing, Canada has reopened for tourism and visitor visas are being issued. Just make sure you are fully vaccinated and download the ArriveCAN app and fill out all the information in it before coming to Canada. Depending on your country of origin, visitor visas could take anywhere between 30 to 100 days to process. But we have been hearing some reports that people are even getting their visitor visas in 20 days or less. Now, this is by far the fastest way to come to Canada, but keep in mind, while there is currently no restriction on looking for work while here on a visitor visa, this may change in the future. If you do find an employer before this policy is changed, you can apply to have your visa switched over to a work or a study permit. Just don't work here under a visitor visa or you're going to get kicked out of here pretty quick. Number 2, study permit. At Wellspring Immigration, we firmly believe you are never too old to go back to school, and Canada is a great place to study. Plus, if you have school-aged children, you can bring them with you and they can study in a Canadian public school for free while you go to college or university. Study permits are not just for college or university students wanting to study here from overseas, though. Surprisingly, one of the fastest ways to come to Canada is to enroll your child or children in public or private school here. Most of the time, one parent accompanies the children to look after them while they study, while the other stays in their home country and continues to work. The second parent later applies for a visitor visa to come visit and study temporarily in Canada once the children are going to school. Again, there's nothing stopping the parents to look for work once they arrive here on a visitor visa, but this policy may change in the future. Remember, those parents still need to swap over to a work permit when they find an employer that will hire them. Number 3, work permit. The next fastest way to come to Canada is by finding an employer willing to hire you and applying for a work permit. Now, this one's a bit more difficult as the employer needs to prove to the government of Canada that they can't find anyone in Canada to fill their job vacancy and need to hire someone from outside the country. Please do your research on any employer or company that says they will provide you a job offer before you accept it. There are a lot of scams out there asking you to pay for a job in Canada that may or may not exist. Know this: paying money for a job in Canada is illegal, and you are risking getting deported. It used to be that someone could be a food service supervisor or an administrative assistant and easily get a Canadian work permit, but those days are over for now. The technology sector is your best bet now, especially in Alberta. They are looking for web developers, programmers, analysts, laboratory technologists, a whole list of jobs. Navigate over to the province of Alberta's website and look for the program called Alberta's Tech Pathway in their Express Entry stream. We've also provided a link in the description below. Number 4, International Experience Canada. Now here's an interesting program for anyone between the ages of 18 and 35. You need to visit the Government of Canada's website for International Experience Canada who can apply to see if you're eligible, as your home country would need to have a youth mobility agreement with Canada or be part of a recognized organization. Basically, this is a program for youth interested in coming to Canada for a working holiday, an international co-op or internship, or as a young professional and be able to travel and work in Canada for up to 2 years. You can watch a video about the process from the Government of Canada at the below link in the description. A great benefit of this program is that any work you do in Canada can count towards the Canadian Experience Class Permanent Residency Program. And speaking of the Canadian Experience Class, that's number 5. Have you ever worked in Canada in the last 3 years and have accumulated 1,560 hours of skilled work experience here? Well, perfect, because this is the next fastest way to come to Canada and stay here permanently too. Not just any job in Canada qualifies though. You need to have skilled work experience, which means you need to have worked in a job with a Canadian National Occupational Classification or a NOC of one or more of the following: managerial jobs, which are skill type 0, professional jobs, which is skill type A, and technical jobs or skilled trades, which is skill type B. Now, the absolute minimum requirements for this program for the NOC 0 or the A jobs is a Canadian language benchmark or a CLB of 7, so that's an IELTS 6. And those NOC B jobs is a CLB 5, so that's 4 in reading and a 6 in everything else in IELTS. So if you're interested in any of those visas, permits, programs, or anything that we've discussed on this particular edition of Wellspring Immigration's 5 for 5, you can give us a shout at our brand new contact us page at wellspringimmigration.ca, and our professional regulated immigration consultant Ming-Chi B will review your case and see where we can help make the immigration process easier for you. We're very client-centric, so hopefully we'll be able to give you a hand there. Hope you enjoyed the walk, and if you have any other questions or comments, then you can just leave those below in a message. And we'll talk to you later.